The new Mercedes A-Class, 4th generation. Shadowed by 81 years old technology. Old versus modern, then.
So there you have it. Over there we've got a modern car breaking down. And over here we've got an old classic car, the 300D, not breaking down, still working and in very good condition. I've tested this one last year. If you want to see the video, you can find it on our channel. Over here I've got something even older from 37, which is going to be quite interesting. But right now I'm wondering, what's the difference between something this old and something this new, even though this is the A-Class.
I think Mercedes made a very good choice in 2012 when it decided to transform the ugly A duckling from the boxy to a much more modern shape of the 3rd generation. Now, with this new model, they refined it even further. And if I compare the technological leaps in 81 years, like the lighting, which is really hardly comparable to those days, or the tires, which were made differently back then, they were softer and more comfortable on bad roads, but also more prone to blowouts and less controllable at higher speeds. The new A has some very nice lighting, both outside and in. It also features parking sensors and an optional reversing camera. The boot is sufficiently big for our equipment, but don't look for more space underneath as it's full of tools and electronics. The test model also sported a large optional instrument and infotainment screen. The buttons are high quality, while the air vents look like straight from the future. I'm used to ambient lighting in test models by now, but Mercedes took it a few steps further. Lighting on the doors, the footwells, dashboard and air vents, and all of that in various colors. I'd especially like to praise the digital instruments. In most cars they're there so you can show some extra information while you're driving. But Mercedes really gave it some serious thought. You can add, remove, and make dozens of combinations of information, dials, maps, and the like. Truly a heaven for all of us who love customizing our devices to our own liking. These things people didn't even dream of back in 37 though, and were satisfied with an analog speedometer. Such tiny details as soft lighting of the window buttons makes this car into something quite special. The new A is indeed difficult to compare with the old Mercedes 230 while driving. The test model had a 1.5-liter diesel with a 7-gear automatic. Right now, only an 85 kilowatt diesel is available, while the petrol engines range from 80 to 165 kilowatts.
Earlier I said that it would be quite interesting to compare the really old 37 Mercedes 230 to this one, a completely modern Class A. And, well, the differences aren't that enormous, even though you would think they are, because that old Mercedes, well, it drives just any normal modern car. Yes, the gearbox is very heavy, the engine doesn't have that much power, and it's, you know, But it has a throttle, it has a brake, it brakes, it has a clutch, so you can drive it just fine. However, where the real change in cars has been in the last 20-30 years is refinement and civilized behavior. With this car, you could probably drive for about 24 hours if you wouldn't fall asleep and not feel as tired as you would in that old Mercedes after about 2 hours of driving. So it is very nice to be in a modern car. So if I look at it, and perhaps if I compare it a little bit to its rival, the BMW 1 Series, it's interesting because even though this car drives very nicely, it's very fun, I don't think it drives quite as nicely as the BMW 1 Series. However, my cameraman thinks quite the opposite, that the 1 Series doesn't drive as well as this one. So, you know, up to your taste. You have to test and drive it. Now, as far as the interior goes, that's where the Class A just completely outclasses, no pun intended, the BMW 1 Series. This interior is just fantastic. This giant digital instrument cluster with the infotainment sort of in one unit is brilliant, very customizable, which is nice. And these air vents, they look like turbines aimed at you, but they look awesome and interesting, and they each have their own ambient lighting. Also ambient lighting on the doors, on the dashboard. And yesterday I was having a little bit of fun with the settings, and I found a setting that will animate these colors. So when you're driving at night or whenever, the colors will slowly and smoothly change from one to another. You might think it's a little bit, you know, taking your focus off the road, but no, it's nice.
I really like the new A. You won't be winning any races with a diesel, but you're not buying it for speed anyway. What it is a very comfortable city car that's also suitable for long-distance driving. The base model A can be bought for €24,600, the diesel one for €29,000. If you'd prefer the most equipped petrol one with 224 horses and automatic transmission, you'll be paying just over €67,000.